Welcome to the Dream Lifestyle Podcast, and today we are talking about how to confidently set and crush your goals. And of course, I got my dog, my homie, the Money Multiplier, is here with us again.
Hey,
Randy
I'm glad
Smith
to be
is
back.
here for sure. Not as happy to have you for sure. So we're talking about how to confidently set and crush goals, right? And this is important just because I think for a lot of people, they have a lot of hopes and wishes and dreams, but it's very important that people actually take the step, really the first step of actually setting the
Those
goal,
goals.
right? So in your experience, talk to me about just confidently setting goals. Like when I say confidently setting goals, like what does that mean to you? How have you experienced that?
I think for a long time, I was not confidently setting goals, right? I think I was in the place where, I knew what my I guess you can say what my long term or my dream was,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but I wasn't able to, sit down and I guess you can say, work backwards and get to those, like weekly goals, monthly goals, and from there you go to what are your 3 month or quarterly goals, yearly
Yeah.
goals. And
Facts.
I think being able to work backwards and kind of getting to that place has then helped me just build that confidence
Yeah. I think
that I can crush one, right?
that's what's important about what you said is most people, they do know what their big picture is, right? Like I talk all the time about how there's 3 types of people. You have person 1 who knows exactly what they want to do, right? Which is that big picture goal, but they don't necessarily know what to do in order to make it happen.
Right.
And then you have the second person that doesn't have their big picture goal, but they just do a whole bunch of stuff hoping that they'll land somewhere. And then you have the third person that has neither big picture nor action step with anything.
Yeah.
And I think the key to confidently setting goals, and you touched on it a little bit, is really getting clear about where you are within the process, but also
Yeah.
the reverse engineering makes that big picture goal, just makes it more, in your day to day. Like I think if you can transform your big goal into, okay, what are the day to day actions? What's the week to week actions, month to month, quarter to quarter, year to year? How do you basically that whole reverse engineering piece of it? When you're able to do that, your ability to even set the goal now becomes, that's where I think you go from easily just setting a goal, saying, okay, I want to do this, I want to be this, to where it's like, okay, with confidence, I've reverse engineered this where if I want to do that, if I want to have that, if I want to be able to live this type of way, whatever the case is, if I reverse engineer it to where if I boil it down to 3 key activities every single day, 3 key activities every month, so on and so forth. Now, that thing that was so big and intimidating is now
obtainable.
It's super attainable to where it's like, it boils down to, okay, just execute your morning routine every day.
Right.
Okay, if you're an entrepreneur, okay, get 1 sale every day.
Right.
Okay, if you're a creator, it's all right, come up with 10 ideas every day. Like whatever, it is. But it's like if you say, okay, I want to be a, mogul in this space. I want to do this really big thing. And a lot of people are intimidated by that magnitude of goal, I guess I'll say, like to the point where they're almost afraid to actually plan for it. And there's a lot that goes into that, because I think that's where you deal with like your environment, your experience, your self-confidence, and everything like that. But I do think that reverse engineering to confidently set goal, because the thing is, and then I want you to chime in on this, is confidently setting your goal is not even so much about only plotting out the end goal, right? Only plotting out the destination. It's also plotting out the journey too, right? Where it's actually plotting out, okay, these are the steps that will lead me to the ultimate goal. So it's like, you're not really just setting, 1 goal. It's you're setting like, let's say 10, right? And these are the 9 steps that lead to the big 10 that you want. You know what I'm saying?
No,
so
that's real.
how do you do that? Like, let's in just a real practical way. In what way? What's your thinking when you think about just with everything that you're doing, right? Whether it be financially, whether it be with your brand, business, how do you practically, set the big goal, right? How do you properly set step 10? But what's your process of reverse engineering of actually determining here are the concrete 9 other steps, goals that I'll need to hit in order to reach that 10th?
I'll be honest with you. It wasn't until I went to your
Does the symposium?
symposium, yes, like
Yeah.
last year, that I realized that it was possible to kind of merge those two together.
Mm-hmm.
I would either start making those like, first, I don't know, maybe my my 1 to 2 week goals, maybe like quarterly goals. And I was like, well, like for a long time I was doing that, and I was not even dreaming too far ahead, because I was like, if I don't see the progress, it was starting to make me feel discouraged.
Yeah.
And then there was another part of me that was like, yeah, in 10 years I want to do this, and in 5 years I want to do that. And then I look at my life and I'm like, oh well, I don't know how I'm going to get there. So I think me going to the symposium, and then me then joining the those calls every Monday at 7
Yeah, the
a.m.
Dream
The
Society.
Dream Society.
We get busy.
It was like, okay, what are my targets? What are my goals? And how are we gonna crush them?
Right.
And I think a lot of times what people underestimate is just trying to get the momentum. And
Yeah.
once you get the momentum and you start to see yourself like just making progress and actually having, like, I guess you could say, actually having fruitful evidence
Yeah.
that you're actually making progress, the next thing you know, you're like, all right, bet.
Yeah.
Well, next week I'm gonna do 2 and 3 and 4, and by then you're getting that much closer.
Yeah. And I think that's where you enter into crushing the goal.
Mhm.
Right? Because for sure, if you set a goal and you're like, okay, and I'm not big on necessarily putting a timeline on certain goals, but when you break the goals down into like those micro goals, right? The
Mhm.
9 steps that lead to the big one, right? And you start seeing, okay, if if me getting to that goal says, I'll use an example, a financial goal. If it's, okay, I have to stay within my budget of $20 in order for me to be debt free later on down the line, right?
Yeah.
So that means if I only cut my budget down to $10 today somehow, and not saying like you need to starve yourself or nothing, but
Right.
bear with me in terms of the example, that means I can really crush this goal if I'm somehow able to only spend 15 every day, right? Like the goal in order for me to get there is 20. Like if I only spend $20 a day, then I'll hit the goal of financial freedom. But if I can somehow only spend 15, oh, now I'm really going to be able to get there faster, or it'll be a bigger impact.
Right.
Right. And I think that's one of the ways in where someone can go from, okay, you're confidently setting the goal, but now you're also able to put yourself in position to crush the goal, to really like go above and beyond the goal. And I think even to also piggyback on what you said about momentum, I think where most people struggle when it comes to creating momentum for their goals is because they're not creating or picking goals that really matter to them.
That's good. That's real.
Like, again,
it's easy to just pick anything.
Yeah, like it's easy to just say, oh, I want to be financially free. It's easy to say, oh, I want to start a business. Oh, I want, like, and those goals are great. Like, I'm not against it, but there needs to be more to it.
Right.
You need to add significance to whatever goal you have, because the thing is, most goals that people have, I call them positional. They have to do with, a title you probably want. They have to do with, more than likely, letters you want behind your name, whatever. Like, it's very positional, but you need to have purpose behind those goals.
That's real.
Right? There needs to be a purpose behind the title. There needs to be a purpose behind the letters behind your name. There needs to be a purpose behind the numbers you want in your bank account, whatever.
Right.
Like, and so I think when you talk about, confidently setting the goals and creating that momentum, it's important that you first start off with confidently setting a goal that actually matters to you. What does that actually mean? Right? Like, so setting a goal that actually solves a problem that really matters to you.
Brings value.
Yeah.
Impact, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And I think so many people, they are setting goals just because it's trendy. They're setting goals just because it sounds good, or they're setting goals that aren't even theirs.
Yeah.
right? Like they're setting goals for themselves
It's
that's
what's
like from the
been
people.
ingrained in them.
Right. And so I think when we're talking about, confidently setting goals, and again, there's so much we can go into with this topic, but it's like you first need to get clear on for yourself, what is it that I really want to accomplish, but also why is this important from an objective point of view?
Yeah, and I think the other thing is not being afraid to, identify what is or what may be like, holding you back. Because I think a lot of times it's like it's really easy to kind of like, start to get discouraged when you start, hitting walls and you're not really identifying why or
Right.
just like or just, I guess you can say after you've, so after you have, found something that's like, a struggle point for you, right?
Do you know what you want to accomplish in the new year, whether it be personally or professionally? If you're trying to figure it out, I'm encouraging you to get your ticket to the Dreamer Symposium. This is going to be your space to get really clear on what you want to do, where you are, and you're going to leave with a practical success strategy. And there's going to be an accountability system for the entire year to make sure that you complete it so that way you elevate your life. All you have to do to get your ticket is go to dreamersymposium.com right now so you can register. I want you to be there because I want you to level up. I want you to go to the next level in your life. I want you to level up in your finances, level up in your personal life, level up in your professional life, level up your overall level of being. And you have to go to the Dreamer Symposium to do that. So go to dreamersymposium.com, get your ticket. Now let's get back to the episode.
I would say that for me, it's been really important to put a system in place.
Ooh, that's good.
So you don't get trapped.
Yeah.
You don't get in this like I don't know, this little, cycle of like just being trapped, right? Like for instance, like one of the examples that you gave was finances. That's my
that's
thing.
That's your bag.
So sure. Like for instance, when I first got on my whole journey of trying to get out of debt, right? I was about $98,000 in debt. When someone hears that, they're like, "Well, it might just stop now because I ain't getting there," right?
Right.
But the main thing that I was just getting stuck with was like, okay, it's so easy to it's so easy to say, stop spending money on clothes, stop spending money eating out, make sure you cook at home, stop fill in the blank,
yeah,
right?
The basic
all
advice
the things
that
everybody
says.
But if it was easy, then everybody would do it, right?
Facts.
But then I had to really sit down and write out my budget and go and look at my online banking statements and see what I was really spending money on, right?
Yeah.
And when I got to the place of like, okay, according to my bank statements, for the last 2 months, I have been $900 over budget because I am spending money on fill in the blank, right?
Yeah.
And from there, though, my goal was not to say, you know what, next month I'm not spending all $900. The goal was, okay, how can I spend only $400? Instead of 9. And then the next month, how can I get to 200? Just splitting it in half.
That's good.
Because the goal is to make changes that you can actually sustain and build upon. And and for me, in 6 months, I went from, having 98,000, to like 70,000.
That's a big jump.
And seeing that jump, yes.
That's a confidence booster.
Yes. The 70,000 was like still a lot.
Oh yeah.
But I'm like, well, if we keep on like on this little, this little trend of just getting that momentum, next thing you know, in a year, I only had like a 10K left, which means I paid off $88,000 by just sticking to weekly and monthly goals.
Yeah.
And then like for me, it was a game. I'm like, all right, bet. This month I'm gonna do this, and kind of just having those honest conversations and being able to pivot.
Yeah,
So.
I think what's great about that example is it's important that you add specificity to the goal and you make it measurable.
Exactly.
Right? Like really measuring it, especially in finances. Like, because again, everyone says, well, cut your eating budget. Don't go out, cook at home. Everyone says that financially.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you're able to, like you said, because even what you said was kind of a version of reverse engineering,
right.
what to do, where it's like, okay, let me get honest and look at these bank statements, which is, I mean, that is probably
it's embarrassing.
Like
look at your
the
bank statement.
Hardest thing.
It's embarrassing.
It is because you like
I wasted $500 a month on food.
What? For me, it was my. I look at my credit card statement and I'm like, I don't even want to look at this. Like, because I don't even know what I'm.
You know, you was out of hand, right?
Yeah, it's like, but at the same time, it's like you knew you were out of hand, but at the same time, you're like, but I didn't like wow out,
right.
like
I needed that.
Or like
I did it because like
like that was a good reason to spend.
I always have a reason for something.
So,
right?
But I think even to that point, I think your experience with the financial freedom is a great example of how important it is that with the things that we want to accomplish, that we're specific with them. Right? We're specific with, okay, this is what I want to do. And in your example, it's not just I want to be debt free. It's I want to be debt free and I have $98,000 to go in order to accomplish it. Measuring it by saying, okay, this is the process of if I do this on a month to month basis, right? Just breaking it down month to month, I can be debt free from this 98,000 in however much time.
And what's the reward?
Right. And then assessing a reward. And I think that's where the significance that I talked to about earlier, where it's like, if I can be specific about the goal, if I can measure it, right, in terms of the process, but then I also assess, here's the reward, here's the benefits, here are the effects of me becoming successful with accomplishing this goal.
That's it.
Now, again, the goal, you're basically bringing the success of the goal into your world today, because it's like, okay, if I do this today, if I do these set of activities, this one activity, whatever, pertains to your goal, if I do this within this time frame, this week, this month, so on and so forth, and you build on it, now you're confidently able to be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
Absolutely.
And even when you do encounter difficult times, you're more likely to be flexible just because you're like, okay, I know the significance of this. And depending on, whatever hardship you encounter, depending on the goal, you've already created momentum because you've created a system for yourself already that works for you, because I think so often people create systems that work for other people and they don't create systems that actually work for them currently, because I think
their personalities and all that stuff affects what type of system that you choose.
Yes, that's so true. And it's like, you need to operate from a place from where you actually are and not from like this idealistic place of like, well, no, I actually, if we're using like a gym example, like, no, like I can go to the gym every single day. It's like, no,
you need a system that's going to help you be progressive.
Right. And truly from the place where you are, right? Because if you're the person that, let's say you want to lose weight, but you're thinking, oh yeah, no, I can just go back to the gym in 5 days. And I can confidently say I'm gonna go to the gym in 5 days a week, even though I've never done that since I was 20 years old. And it's like, no, just you confidently set and measure, you confidently set and crush that goal by being honest and being like, okay, I go to the gym a strong 2 days a week. So the specific part of that goal is I'm going to lose 30 pounds in whatever amount of time. So
change my diet.
Right. I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to still go 2 days a week. I'm going to drink more water and I'm going to change my diet. If I drink X amount of water every single day, that'll allow me to do blah, blah, blah. But again, that whole process of just reverse engineering allows you to confidently say, okay, at some point down the line in the foreseeable future, I'm going to do X. I'm going to have Y. I'm going to accomplish whatever the goal is.
Right.
Right. And so with that, let me ask you, kind of circling back, and I know that you said that the symposium helped you a lot.
It did.
Talk about the importance of really taking the time
Yeah, that's
really
that's
like
what the symposium did.
you know what
You
I'm
were in
saying?
a room, and
Yeah.
it's like you have to take the time to ask yourself these questions, and when you don't know the answer off rip, like
If you're looking for accountability, you need to check out the Dream Society. For $20 a month, you can join a community that will give you the support that you need and the accountability that you need to hit your goals every single week. And for $20 a month, it is the best investment that you will ever make in yourself. So I want you to go to dreamsociety.info right now to join, and let's get back to the episode.
well, then what do you know? And start with that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
sometimes I think the world has kind of lied to us of like, if you don't know everything about, your end goal,
Right. That's
then you're
facts.
behind
Yeah.
or you're lost or something's wrong with you. It's okay not to know, but you know something. And
Right.
start with that. And how do you get there? And what do you need in order for you to know?
Yeah.
You know?
Right. What do you
You
need
need
to
a
put
book,
in
you
place?
need a podcast, you need a mentor, you need a friend,
Yeah.
you need a conference.
That's a fact.
You need a dog, but just
Right.
like,
You
like,
need
what
to
do you
figure out.
need?
Yeah. Yeah.
But most people can't, like, including me, prior to the symposium in December, was I didn't even like I was avoiding thinking about it because I was avoiding the feeling of I'm behind, or just
Yeah.
avoiding this void of like, Brandy, you have the ability to now figure out how to get past this. You have the ability to start making strides in the right direction, strides to where there is no more like turning back. It's just forward.
Right.
Even if forward to for the next 2 months it's just 2 steps, it's 2 steps further than where I was before.
Facts.
And then after that it'll be 6 steps, and by then it'll be a mile, and be like, dang. Like for the last 5 years, I felt stuck, but in this 5 months, I've made it further than I've made it in fill in the blank time.
Right.
So just kind of like really honing in on just taking the time to answer these questions, write them down, and figure out, based on where I am today, based on who I am today,
That's good. Yeah.
how can I make progress?
Yeah.
And there are people around you who are in the same space as you, or they've been there, so they can talk to you. It's like just accountability, community, and consistency. Those 3 C's, right?
For sure. And I think, and honestly, everything you spoke to is why I created Craft Your Dream. Like,
Craft Your Dream has crafted my life.
Like,
Okay.
well, because there are so many things that I know that people have in their hearts that they want to do.
Right.
Right. And in my own life, there are things that I want to do, and some things I've done. There are other things that I'm still working towards.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I just know it hurts me when I hear people talk about the things that they wish they had done, things that they hope they had done, but they feel like they can't. But they're all things that are like, well, if you did like these 2 or 3 things now, like you could do that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like when I have conversations with people and I hear I don't want to say hopelessness, but for lack of a better term, I'll say hopelessness in their voice, or their self-doubt in their abilities, or like the subconscious self-doubt,
Mm-hmm.
the negative talk.
Defeated.
Yeah,
feeling.
defeated, like that type of thing, as if like that goal that they're going after is a big goal, but it's for whatever reason not possible for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, no, let's just take the time to plot it out. Let's take the time to be honest with ourselves and really look at it. Because it hit when you said that, you were in a space where you didn't want to take the time and space because you didn't want to face yourself.
Yeah.
You didn't want to face that feeling
to do
of
a full
like
diagnostic of what was like, like where are we?
Yeah. And so I think encouraging people to just listen. It can't get any worse than where you're at now. Right? So let's take the time to self-diagnose where we really are.
Mm-hmm.
But then let's really create a plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's really create a plan so you can confidently set what you want to accomplish in this new year. And I know
there's fruit of where you're trying to go.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I loved how you said that. You said 2 steps today is still better than what I did in the past 5 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's so much power in that, because it's like, at the end of the day, even if in 1 year you only take one step forward, you're still in a better position than where you are today. And I'm really big on this, and you know this, like, at the end of the day, being successful is a process. And so if you can guarantee to yourself every single day, every single week, every single month, every quarter, every year, I'm getting better. Whether it's 1%, I don't care if it's 0.5%. I don't care if it's 0.25%. As long as you don't stay the same, you're successful. And you can literally confidently set a goal. And then as long as you walk out the process, whatever that is, that you've reverse engineered and you've added significance to it and really gotten clear on where you're at with it so you can properly, plan for it, you'll be able to literally crush any goal.
Right.
But I think for a lot of us, it's, that step of facing ourselves and running that self-diagnostic and just actually taking the time. Because we're so busy. All of us are busy, right? We can all say we're busy, right? Because we all are adults. We got responsibilities. We got things to do. And even when we don't necessarily have things to do, we want to actually, we create things to do. Or we're just like, I just want time to not do anything because I'm busy doing stuff all the time. But it's like, it's so important that you actually do have that personal time to just sit down and just think about, okay, what is it that I want to accomplish in X amount of time? How am I doing? Like, for me, one of the things that helped me a lot is, and I've actually gotten away from this a little bit, I need to go back to it, is I have personal meetings with myself every month. Like every month, like the first week of the month, I'll take myself out to get sushi. I'll go just get my favorite dinner, my favorite meal. For me, it's sushi. And I'll literally just sit down and I'll think about just, okay, how did we do this month? How, for me, it's kind of like almost a budgeting meeting too. It's like, okay, financially, how did I do this month? What were the good decisions this month financially? Which ones did I, not do so well in? Where did I spend the money that I shouldn't have? All right, how am I doing with business? Am I still in a confident spot? Like, just running that self-diagnosis. But I make intentional time to like really,
that's so good.
Okay, how am I doing? You know what I'm saying? Because
still that one. I need that.
Yeah, no, it helps. It really does help, because you just, like, I'll bring my laptop, I'll just look at the spreadsheet of things. All right, how am I doing? How's it going? But then even just aside from even the technology spreadsheet side of it, of just like, okay, let me just really think back over this month. All right. Like I said, for me it's financial, but just emotionally, whatever, like, were there any low points? Were there any high points? What went well? What didn't? What should I have done more of? What didn't I do enough of? But then also it's like,
I push underneath the rug.
Yeah, like, what did I push underneath the rug trying to hide it? But then I look back and I'm like, all right, like, I really should have not taken Joy on that date. We really should have done something a little more cost effective. Like, and that's cool. Like, but I just take that time to just really think it through, so that way that next month I'm able to
make adjustments.
Right, I make the proper adjustments, because honestly, history repeats itself. Right, like those cycles that you talked about before. Like, you can stay in the cycle of being stuck.
It's better to say, okay, having a monthly meeting and being able to make some changes after just 1 month of data versus 5 years of doing the same thing. Like, man, I wasted $10K and I could have just wasted $100, right? If I just have that conversation.
Right. Catch it early. It'll save you. But this is super great. This was awesome. So I hope that you guys got value out of this conversation, and I hope that you guys, in some way, shape, or form, take action to confidently set goals and crush them. And you heard Brandy mention the Dreamer Symposium. It's coming back on December 16th this year in Washington, D.C.
Y'all gotta be there.
Y'all should be there. All right. You heard about how much of an impact it's had on her life. Now, all you need to do is get your spot. So go to dreamersymposium.com to get your ticket. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be speakers, a panel, prizes, the whole nine. It's going to be awesome. But if you haven't, check out last week's episode, share this episode, and start getting ready for next week's conversation as we talk more about success, mindset, and just goals, because we all have things that we want to accomplish. So I appreciate you. If you haven't, like, comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, all that fun stuff. And always remember, your dream is possible as long as you're willing to work for it. See you guys next week.